This is Michael Anthony right here, and you are watching exclusively Van Halen on the Johnny Bean TV. Keep it there. Woo! See ya!
Hey, what's up, you guys? Johnny Bean here. This is exclusively Van Halen, the Van Halen Show on YouTube. We're also live on X, and we're also live on, what's the other place? Twitch. Let's see. Actually, it tells me right there. We're live on YouTube, we're live on X, and we are live on Twitch. So if this is your first time here, consider subscribing to the channel. YouTube, 13,500 is our next goal. And let's see, if you'd like to help support the channel, Super Chats is a way you can do that. Pretty cool thing. They actually changed the color of these lights back here. It's pretty neat. Anyway, we also have channel membership. And the top tier channel members, they get their names read at the top of every talk show. They are currently Michael B. Where is it? Michael B. Music Therapy Laz, Majestic PB and J Cat, Flipper Carlin, CC, Bay Area Rich, Sherman Callahan, Nova 9, R Habs, and Janice Lala. Thank you guys for being top tier channel members here on the Johnny Bean YouTube channel. Now, channel membership, your name is in green in the chat, so you guys stick out. Like, I see you guys. Like Scott, I can see you. Like Michael B, I see you. Bay Area Rich, I see you. Ron, I see you. Ian's channel, I can see you. I see all you guys in the chat. Thank you so much, you guys, for being channel members. Let's see. Let's say hello to some other people here. Shred Flint's Toad is here. Hey, what's up? Vince Vegas, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Who else is in here? I'm in here. That is me. Ian in India is here. He says, hell yeah. Peggy is here. Peggy was first in here. Very good. Okay. I'm going to read it's not easy being green. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read a story, and then we're having a special guest. So when I see them in the green room, I'll let them in. But let me read a story to you guys here, okay? Let's go over to Guitar Player. This is written up by Phil Weller, posted about 7 hours ago. I'm going, cello? Dude, I'm ready to write a song with you on cello, Sammy Hagar says. Eddie Van Halen was preoccupied with the classical instrument when he died. The singer adds he's called on Wolfgang to form a Van Halen tribute group with him for at least one show. Now, that's something we had talked about a little while back. There they are. Right there. Sammy Hagar has been speaking about his relationship with Eddie Van Halen once more. He now says that the late guitarist had turned his attention to the cello before he died. His comments follow Hagar's recent claims that EVH was dried up in the latter stages of his life and career, which assists to why the band only released one album in the 21st century. Eddie Van Halen was born into a musical family. His father was a Dutch jazz pianist, clarinist, and saxophonist. And the guitar legend trod a similarly multi-instrument path by playing piano, drums, and cello. The final months of his life, it seems, were dedicated to developing his skills as an orchestra staple rather than the electric guitar. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty wild. Let's see. Let's keep going. Last time I talked to Eddie before he passed, I said, man, what are you playing? Hagar tells the Talk and Rock with Meltdown podcast. He said, oh man, I've really been playing a lot of cello. Hagar says he took the surprise news in good faith and pushed for what would have been their first collaboration together since 1995's Balance. I'm going cello. Holy S. Play me something, dude. I'm ready to write a song with you on cello. So I guess that's a link right there to that podcast. Rock journalist and guitar player contributing writer Steve Rosen, who penned the book Tone Chaser, Understanding Edward, about his 26-year friendship with the guitarist, says Van Halen's journey with cello began in 1985. Edward had mentioned to me back on December 7th, 1984, that he was buying a cello and wanted to learn the instrument, Rosen writes in an excerpt of the book via Something Else Reviews. When he first told me that, I thought immediately of my friend Ron, who was not only an excellent bass player, but a trained cellist as well. Van Halen was 30 in 1985 and very much in the thralls of the rock and roll lifestyle, as Rosen noted. The guitarist arrived at his cello lesson with Ron having been drinking heavily. At one point, Edward attempted to play a few notes, but had been holding the bow incorrectly, Rosen writes. Ron reached over and slapped his hand the way an impatient music teacher may have done with the student, as in, no, Edward, bad student. This is very interesting. The second he did it, I saw the look of terror across his face because he realized he had just smacked the most famous right hand to ever hold a cello bow. No collaboration between Hagar and a cello-playing Van Halen materialized. Moreover, the mention of the call brings the pair's last conversation took place close to his passing October 2020. And then goes on, talks about Encore Thank You Good Night, which Sammy thought of in a dream. We talked about that. Very interesting stuff. And there's a link right there to that. So very, where are we? There we are. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. And by the way, that mentions Steve Rosen. We know Steve. Steve is a very good friend. This guy right here.
Hey guys, NAMM 2023 taking off. Here's Johnny Bean. Watch Johnny Bean TV, the best freaking show on the net, man. I love this guy.
Thank you so much, dude.
You bet.
Thank you. Steve Rosen. By the way, we have a very special guest in the green room. I'll bring him in. Here we go. All the way from, I think it's Nevada, Pyro John. Hey, dude.
Hey, dude.
Hey, how are you? It's great. It's great to meet you.
Well, as a former U.S. UCSC alumni, it's happy to be home.
Oh, yeah, I'm in Santa Cruz. Yeah.
I went to Kresge.
No way. Cool, man. Well, hey, by the way, we're live. We're live right now. I see you got in. We can see you. We can hear you. So all good.
And Steve Rosen is a dear friend of mine as well. What a great guy.
Steve Rosen, amazing dude. Yeah, he's been on the show many times over the years, and just amazing, articles, the book, all that stuff. By the way, so for those of you that are tuning in, this is Pyro John. Tell everybody what is your, I know you have a book, right?
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about your book.
Everybody has a book.
I'm working on my book right now, actually. What is it? I mean, your name, it says Pyro John. What is it? How did you get involved in doing pyro for some of the biggest bands in the world?
I grew up in Texas, where we loved the Alamo and firecrackers.
Hmm.
And it was just a weird set of events that had happened. Me and a friend of mine, when we were kids, used to go to church camp for a month, for a week each summer, and we
Hmm.
try and up each other as to who could scare the priests the best. And he introduced me to flash powder, and he'd rig all the lights in the rectory, so when they turn on the lights, it go boom. He won the competition. So he wound up going to work for the Tubes, and then to Kiss.
Oh, no way.
And his name was Tim Zock, the most creative person I ever met. And he got killed in a car crash right before Kiss was supposed to leave for Japan in '77. And so I got my dream job and lost my best friend all at the same time.
Oh, man.
And I did not fix his brakes. It was not me.
Oh, oh my goodness. Dude, you mentioned the Tubes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. I know the Tubes.
It's funny.
Yeah, Tubes originally from there, and then they're from the Bay Area. Yeah, I worked with Bill Spooner for a little bit.
Sputnik.
Sputnik. Yeah, years ago. He was teaching some music classes at Blue Bear School of Music in San Francisco, and I took one of his classes.
I'll have to send you some
Long
pictures
time
of
ago.
me and him back in '76.
Oh, cool. Cool, dude. Amazing. So, let's see. By the way, you got what? Johnny gets chicken pox strikes. Oh yeah. I was in a my name was mentioned in a kid's book for chicken pox. That's what he's saying. Okay. So I was actually in a book. There we go. I don't have it here. I would show it if I had it, but anyway. Okay. So Pyro John. So you worked with bands like you mentioned Kiss. Did you work with the Tubes?
A little bit. I worked with Tim,
Mm-hmm.
and they, of course, were arch enemies with Kiss. So, yeah, I worked with them a little bit, not directly. I didn't get paid, but I did a lot of hours,
Mm-hmm.
which is the way it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Ian. Yeah, we have a chat. I don't know if you can see the chat here, but if you click on are you on a computer?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at the top right, you'll see comments.
I had to put on my old man glasses, and
Oh.
even still with lights in my eyes, I don't think I'll be able to read it.
It's Steve Vai's birthday today, Clayton James says. Cool. Did you ever work with Steve Vai?
No,
Wow.
don't think so. It's some Ozzy.
Oh, cool. So you have a book. Do you have one right there?
Why? By coincidence?
There it is. There it is right there. Don't you know who I think I am? How to have fun annoying the rich and infamous. Pyro John. Dude, that's amazing.
It's a glorious
yes.
celebration of the humanity and fallibility of celebrities. It's
Mm-hmm.
not exactly putting them up on a pedestal. It's a collection of 53 of my most favorite stories of when they show their vulnerable side.
Hmm.
Like when Jerry Lee Lewis threw up on my boots, and
No way.
when Johnny Cash wanted to get down on his knees and pray with me in a projection booth. Things like that.
Wow. You worked with Rick James?
Quite a bit. I was on 5 Rick James tours, starting with Fired Up, where Prince was the opening act. And I played the policeman on stage during the Street Songs tour. And I also did Garden of Love, Throwing Down, and Cold Blooded.
Oh, wow, man. That's so cool.
I used to ride around Buffalo in Rick's Excalibur.
Let me see. Shred Flint's Tone says they want that book. So where can people get your book?
Amazon's the only place.
Okay.
You got to actually click on books and then click on John Watkins. You go to their general inventory. It's hard to find.
Here, I'm going to grab the link.
I have no publicist. I'm just an old roadie.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I found the page. Copy link. Okay, here, if you guys want to get the book, this is the link. That should be the link. I mean, it doesn't say anything, but it says I copied the link. That's what it said.
Well,
Amazon.
If your pink pen is getting a bunch real easy, please don't buy this book. This tells the truth about what it was like in the 80s and 90s, which was a different time. It was a time before AIDS and corporations ruined rock and roll for everybody. But it was a wonderful time.
Oh, wow. Some of us can, well, a lot of us can only imagine what that was like. Because, I mean, we see, the music videos. Okay, so here's, that is the right link. There's all that right there. So, Don't you know who I think I am? Memoirs of a world-class smartass. There's the Amazon link. You guys click on that link. Get the book directly from John. There it is. So, let me see. Okay, we got some questions and stuff. By the way, we're live. We're live right now on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We're live on X. And this will be a podcast on Apple, Spotify, everywhere. Everywhere there is. Let me see. Let's see. That is the link, Peggy says. Thank you, Peggy.
They can ask away. I'll answer anything. They may not want to know the answer, but I'll tell it.
Let me see. Well, Mike Jones is saying, "Hey, Johnny, cool guest. What does he think of the James Hetfield pyro injury?"
Very unfortunate. It was a built-in piece that was always in the same place. It was underneath the stage and shot a flame up through the grid. So a pyro guy can only do so much. You got to watch your rock stars. You got to watch the audience. You got to be in time. You got a million things going through your mind. And if a professional like James Hetfield forgets where he's supposed to be and steps at the last moment into it, it's unavoidable. I mean, you've got if you're going to have adult fireworks on stage, you're going to have to be an adult, and you're going to have to do your part. We can only watch out for you so much. So unfortunately, he did step into the wrong place at the wrong time. I had the same thing happen to me with Vivian Campbell, and I was staring straight at him. And it was the same cue every night on Sacred Heart where the dragon would shoot a laser and a flash pot would go off. And he liked to stand near the flash pot because he thought it looked cool. And then this one night, the dragon shoots the laser. I got my finger on the button, and if I could take my finger back, I would. But you can't. I hit it, and just as I hit it, he did a big rock star twirl right into the flash pot, took his eyebrows right off.
Oh my gosh.
I still feel bad about it, but I don't see anything that could have changed it except for his behavior.
So I mean, on a major tour like that, when you have pyrotechnics, I mean, all that stuff, I mean, I'd imagine there's tons of rehearsals beforehand, and say, like, on the stage, is there like markers on the stage that say,
There's tape.
Don't stand here or stand here or whatever. Because Yeah, I can't even imagine that. But
Well,
yeah, there would have to.
on Van Halen, I had to ashspray proof every pyro effect because even though there was no smoking on stage, there was one person who was going to smoke anywhere they wanted, anytime they wanted. And so it was up to me to make sure that he couldn't flick an ash into anything.
Hmm.
Edward used to write "fuck you" on all my no smoking signs with a Sharpie every day.
Were you? Well, yeah. Well, let's talk about some Van Halen. So, when did you first get involved with Van Halen?
The very first time was in 1979 when I was doing security and stagehanding for Bill Graham Presents in the Bay Area. And
Oh,
they came to
nice.
the San Jose Center of the Performing Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them and just went, that's a rock band. That's why I'm in this industry. The first band I ever saw was the Beatles at the Cow Palace, and my second band was the Rolling Stones. So I had a pretty good starting point as to what I was going to like and didn't like. And when I saw Van Halen live, I just went, I want to work for them. And years later, it wound up coming to fruition. The second time was during 1984 when I held their California pyro licenses so they could do their smoke for the lights. And I got to know their manager and their stage manager. And then I did some consulting with Alex that didn't go well for his drum trick. And then the first time I went actually on their payroll full time on tour was 5150. And then I did the Japan tour, OU812, Monsters of Rock, FUCK, live right here, right now in Europe. So I did about eight tours.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask if you were on 0812. That was the first concert that I saw. First Van Halen concert was 0812. And I remember Edward throwing cigarettes like down like in front of the stage. Like there must have been like a bucket down there or something. I remember him taking them, just throwing them.
Nah,
Uh,
we used to sell those cigarettes.
but so I mean 0812 or let's even say 5150, right? Alex's the drum solo or and any of the pyrotechnics on 5150 0812. So that was you.
Yes.
That was you. And so are you like I'd imagine, I don't know if stuff is computerized nowadays or what, but you're actually physically pushing a button to
Yeah.
set those off?
You can use computers now because everybody's on click tracks and have the shows on computers, so it doesn't matter. Van Halen used to play actually live. So to match Alex, had to hit my cues right in time with him. So I was actually down in the pit in front of the stage, right by the Sage Right side fill, staring straight at him. So we go da da da. I could pop right down the line with him. Never missed a cue. Never with Alex.
Very cool. Yeah, yeah. A lot of us grew up on the Live Without a Net home video
That's me.
and and all the pyrotechnics and the drum solo in that, or say 0812. He had the spinning drums, the whole thing spun around, and then
Yeah, the three kits. Yeah.
yeah, and then Carnal Knowledge. He had the kit that went straight up, right?
Yes. And on Lawful Common Knowledge, we had the Van Halen sign that came down at the end. It was
Mm-hmm.
24 feet by 12, made out of mirror mylar. It was 600 and something pyro devices on each one. They come down.
Mm-hmm.
We took those from Monsters of Rock. That they used to come down in front of both sides of the stage and condensed them into one that came down in the center of the stage at the end. When those blew up, you saw them.
Yeah, yeah. Carnal Knowledge. I saw. I was living in Nebraska at the time, so I saw Omaha, and then I want to say Kansas. I saw Bonner Springs. I saw Carnal Knowledge. But
You
then
were in Section C, right?
probably, yeah.
Yeah, the issue-
I was on the lawn. I was way back there, but
Now you remember the shows we used to on the lawn. We used to do stuff off the roof too during the interview stuff.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
They cared about the lawn people. That was a conscious decision to do something special for the people on the lawn at the end of the show. So while the pyro's going on the stage, it's also going up the top.
They couldn't see the band playing, but they could see the pyrotechnics.
Yes.
Well, say, was it after that? Which was, well, you lived out here, so I'm sure you're familiar with Shoreline Amphitheater, and in Mountain View. That's where I saw Right Here, Right Now tour.
I was there.
And that was one of the first Van Halen shows, or one of the first shows, I guess, at all, where they had screens on each side of the venue, right? And then later on, later Van Halen tours, or just tours in general, would have huge LED screens behind them, so everybody could see what's going on. So my question to you is: does pyrotechnics, do the screens interfere with any of that?
It certainly takes away from where you can place things. I always felt if you're going to watch TV, might as well stay at home. I mean, they're right there in front of you. Shoreline was different because we had to do a bunch of tests in the afternoon because the way the tent went over the stage, I didn't have free access to shoot as high as I wanted. I had to make sure I didn't bang off that tent. So we did a lot of testing that afternoon. But I worked for Bill for a couple of years. So I knew Shoreline.
Mm-hmm. So
The
Bill
Cow
Graham.
Connies. I used to run Winterland, the upstairs of Winterlands.
Oh, cool. Let me see. We've got some questions. Michael B, thank you for the super chat, man. He's asking, what guitar was Vivian playing? I guess Vivian Campbell. Do you happen to remember?
The one with the burn marks on it?
Oh my gosh. Is that in the book? Is that story in the book?
No, that one's not in it. It's in the. There's books to come. I wrote about every tour, start to finish. So I'm going to start releasing those just independent tours. This is just a light chuckle bathroom read. Every story is self-contained, and they're short, so you don't have to read it. It's in chronological order in the book, but you can pick any chapter. And if you, they're just about the right size of a good poo. And if you don't like the story, you've got paper right there you can wipe with. So
we have sound effects for all that. So.
Good review.
I just need pyrotechnics here, I just need stuff going off.
You do. Everybody needs pyro.
Let's see. Okay. Oh, here's a question. Yeah, Max is asking, were you involved with the Monsters of Rock? Yes.
Yes, that was mine.
So
that's Texas Jam.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Yeah. I can find that photo, and I can pull that up. So let me ask you this. So Monsters of Rock, so you didn't work or maybe you did the whole entire day, or did you just do Van Halen's set?
Oh yeah. We had, because we had two signs, that meant 1,200 sparklers had to be dipped and rolled every day. So we had 4 stagehands working all day long, dipping and rolling those sparklers for the signs to explode at the end. And Alex's drum riser had over 100 devices on it, and so I was a busy guy. We had leapfrogging stages on Monsters, which means we'd be playing one place and they'd be setting the exact same thing up in another city, and the band would leapfrog, so there wasn't a lot of time off. And at the same time, I was doing Pink Floyd's Momentary Lapse of Reason tour, And so I was busy. I got no sleep that summer for Johnny.
Wow. Yeah, I saw. I did some. I was looking around earlier today, and I found your YouTube channel, and you have you have some clips of some of the different tours that you did. You had the Pink Floyd, Van Halen, of course, Kiss. I think Rick James I saw on there. I don't know if I saw this on there. I heard about this. Michael Jackson. Like I heard. I don't know if this is true, but the Pepsi commercial.
Well, that was going to be the Victory Tour, which was billed as the biggest tour in the history of touring. And so everybody wanted to be a part of it, as did I. So I phoned up their management and gave my credentials, and they were interested, but they said, well, you know, John, this is going to be the biggest tour ever. You should do it pro grata. I go, does that mean for free? And they went, yes. I went, excuse me. So we agreed to disagree. And then he got burned on the Pepsi commercial. And a few weeks later, I got another phone call that said, well, it's not that much money. Well, it is now. This is going to be more now. I was under a mic. Taking on that tour, I was under a microscope every place I went. And every place we went, did you burn Michael? Did you burn Michael? To the point that our tour T-shirts had him on fire on the back with the universal no sign that says, we didn't do it.
Oh my gosh. So that was a victory tour, or that was going to be for the Victory Tour. Okay.
I did every stop on the Victory Tour. Yeah.
Wow.
So he was so paranoid about the pyro. I got to know Michael pretty well. So it was interesting times, interesting person.
Oh, that's cool, man.
There's a story about him in the book where he told me that the robotic spiders are from Mars and nobody knows why Martians think the way they do. Okay, Mike. Always tell me I was wicked. You're so wicked, Pyro Man.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. What Janice is saying, how about the station fire? The station fire.
The fire that breaks my heart to this day. I actually did pyro for Great White, but not that night because Great White was the opening act for Kiss on the Revenge tour. And so I got to know all the guys. And then I did their video, Call It Rock and Roll. And then, the night the station fire happened, I saw it on television. It to this day breaks my heart. I'm friends now with several of the survivors, and I work with the attorney that represented most of the survivors, a guy named John Berrylick. If you want to read one of the best books ever written on rock, he wrote Killer Show, America's Deadliest Rock Concert, about the station fire. So everything you want to know about the station fire is in that book. And it's just sad. I still donate. I still, anything I can do to increase public safety's knowledge so that never happens again. But Walmart still sells machines that shoot sparks up in the air. They're the same temperature as the sparks that started the station fire. People don't learn. And then people were just killed in an accident just a few weeks ago. I forgot where, but there was an accident in Russia that killed a bunch of people. It's not a game for amateurs. I mean, one of the biggest heartbreaks I had from the station fire was how many people were writing in how they saw Dio or they saw Kiss or they saw so-and-so. And so their band tried to copy those effects. I'm thinking, these kids are copying things I designed. And there's nothing I can say about it because that's how I learned. I was the same kind of Berman delinquent. You don't just be born with that kind of knowledge. you hopefully get someone that'll educate you, and then you train, and then you move on. But when you first start out, you don't know what you're doing. You just think something looks cool.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. How did you get started with in pyro?
Scaring priests at the church camp.
Oh, that's right.
That's absolutely true. You could buy flash powder in the back of comic books, a place called Nuco in Ohio. I still remember that sold the flash from the for photography.
Mm-hmm.
So you could buy it back then.
Scaring priest. Max is. Bay Area Rich. He says he just ordered your book.
Well, thank you very much.
There you go.
If you hate it, I don't want to hear it. Some people are such rabid fans of bands that they can't even accept that these people are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best part of them, that they're people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Edward used to fascinate me that he would noodle and play something into his tape recorder and then couldn't play what he just played because he went in such a zone or whatever it's called that he was just somewhere, and then he tried to learn what he did. That to me is a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. So you saw him play a lot, huh? I don't mean just like on stage, but like backstage and
Edward
like
Van Halen
checks.
was a true musician, a true musician. He was not a rock star, never even wanted to be a rock star. He wanted to be a musician. And that guitar was like glued to him. He would rather play than do anything. And so, yeah, he was always doing something with the guitar. One time during Monsters of Rock, they changed the last cue where the big signs were going to explode. And so I got called back in the dressing room. It was just me and Edward. And he was explaining to me how Standing on Top of the World went at the end. And he's not plugged in anything. He just has his electric guitar. He's playing the end of Standing on Top of the World. And I really can't hear him because in my mind I was going, there's 80,000 people outside waiting to hear this guy play. And I'm getting to sit here one-on-one and hear him. I was blown away by that. But I made him repeat it until he got tired of me. Because you got it. I go, no, not quite. Could you do it again?
Here's a cool photo right here. This is, let's see if you guys can see that. Looks like Sammy and Michael Anthony. I want to say that's Carnal Knowledge tour.
Yes, it is. It's the end of Standing on Top of the World. You can see the big Van Halen sign just exploding, and then the top of all the amplifiers going up in fireballs.
Mm-hmm.
You could feel the heat from that from the back of an arena.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah, I remember this. Amazing. I think it was a little while back. I don't know how we started on my show here. We were talking and something about like, I don't know if it's that VH sign or something, but there's a VH, like one of the old signs is like in my area. You know about this, right? It's like in like San Jose.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere.
It's that sign.
So it is one of those. Okay.
Yeah. They were manufactured by 3B Productions. They're originally built by Nomad in San Francisco that did a lot of Bill Graham stuff. And then that particular sign from Unlawful Carnal Knowledge was done at 3B Productions. And it hung for a long time in the warehouse. And then when your friend called me and asked me about it, I called Kevin Boone, the owner, and he said it wasn't up right now, but it was there in storage. So they're still around.
Oh, that's cool. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, for those of us that grew up on this stuff, and we see the stuff either in concert or in music video, which music videos are produced and everything, but just to grow up on this stuff and to hear the stories behind the scenes of this stuff is pretty amazing. And speaking of stories, your stories are in your book right there. Amazon link, you guys. We sold one already.
Woo!
Bay Area Rich bought one.
I hope he gets a laugh. I hope they like it. These are the kind of stories that roadies tell when they're getting drunk at Barney's Beanery late at night.
Ah, I know Barney's Beanery.
Yeah.
I used to get drunk there too.
First time I went there, I had to step over Sty Stallone to get inside because he was passed out in the doorway.
Oh man, I think there was two of them. You're talking in Hollywood, right?
On Santa Monica.
Santa Monica. Okay, I'm trying to think.
The one that where Janice had her last meal, where the matchbooks used to say "faggot, stay out."
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh.
No, there was only one. Only one famous.
Okay, because I'm thinking last time I was down there like a year ago or so, I think there was a couple of them, but
Well, it could be.
Shred Flint's Tone is saying audiobook. Is there plans for an audiobook?
Possibly. I might just do it for free because I'm not exactly the best orator in the world, but I wouldn't mind telling the stories in my own voice and just sticking them up and seeing if anybody likes them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an easygoing guy. I'm not one of those guys that say, "Oh, I'll tell you the end of the story if you buy the book." I'll tell you anything. I mean, I ain't got that much time left to worry about.
Tell us the ending. Just tell us the ending of the book, and we'll have to buy the book to read the beginning.
The end of the book was the last show of Van Halen on Right Here, Right Now, where Billy Idol was backstage, and their manager, Ed Leffler, who was very, very ill at the time, said to Scotty Ross, "I don't know how we're going to get that guy out of here." And I'm going, "Oh, let me. And so I escorted Mr. Idol out. Kind of tricked him into going with me, telling him that Eddie wanted to see him. And Mr. Leffler thought that was hilarious.
Max just ordered the book too. Hey, look at that. Just sold 2 books.
Woo. And,
Shred is saying, do an audiobook because I hate to read. Yeah, I can't read either, so I'll learn to read by reading your book.
If Braille was made out of nipples, more men would read.
Oh my gosh. Let me see. Okay, so I know this is my Van Halen show, right? But I do all sorts of rock related shows. Let's talk about Kiss a little bit. We were on Messenger a couple days ago, you and I said I went over to your page and there was footage of Kiss from I think 79, right?
Yeah, that was the promo ad for the Tom Snyder Tomorrow show for the infamous Halloween special. So that's actually part of the Halloween special where they showed the pyro. Where Ace was completely drunk and Gene got so mad at him. And, yeah.
So that pyro, that was you.
Yes.
That was you. And then I heard this somewhere or I read it or something about the what can you tell us about the Ace Frehley guitar?
Well, that was designed by Hank Schmel, the master pyrotechnician that taught me. He was the one that Kiss's manager brought in when he decided to turn the band completely professional. So he brought Hank in from the motion picture industry to do professional type effects rather than just, flash bang kind of things. So Bill O'Coin brought Hank in, who did movies like Tora,
Mm-hmm.
little special effects, and he was responsible for the Rose Bowl fireworks display every year. So he's pretty established. So he built the rocket guitar because the laser guitar that they paid a fortune for just didn't work. And none of the laser things that they were paid for that show worked. So he changed it to a rocket guitar. The smoke bomb effect was something Ace had all along. He started that way back before he even had roadies, I think. He just put a smoke bomb in his Les Paul.
That's cool. And then let's see, what else? What else did they do? Did Gene Simmons like shoot like fireworks out of his bass? Or I know Rick James. I saw that.
Now, Gene did blood, and I actually invented the blood recipe that he used to bomb it because he didn't like the one he had. So I worked on that for weeks to get one he liked. Peter had a lot of pyro on his drum riser for his drum solo. There was Gene didn't have fire in his person, but he had the huge fireballs for God of Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a heavy pyro show.
So cool. Let me see. Okay, I just saw Scott is asking, were you there when Ace got electrocuted?
No, that was in Lakeland, Florida in '77 on the tour before mine.
Let's see. Max, I love to read all about these great behind the stage song stories from bands. Very cool. James Z is saying hello. Hey, James. What's up, you guys? And yeah, those of you that are just tuning in, this is Pyro John Watkins. All the pyro you saw on like the biggest tours in the 80s, but I would say in the 90s, 80s, 90s, 70s. And then like Kiss, Van Halen. What else did I see? Bon Jovi?
Yeah. Journey.
Journey.
Floyd. Yeah, Journey. I did the Frontiers tour.
That was huge.
I mean, that documentary, Frontiers and Beyond.
Max is saying, what was the secret recipe for Jane's blood? Ketchup?
2 cups of milk, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of butter, simmered till thick, and red food coloring, salt and pepper to taste. And the reason for that was by using a flour-based soup broth, it stuck to his grease paint, and it wasn't sticky on his hands.
Mm-hmm.
There's a funny story in the book where I scared Billy Crystal with the blood and made him think that we just killed kittens to get it.
Oh my God. Blood soup. Oh my gosh.
See, a lot of the book is so celebrities backstage just think their shit doesn't stink and they think they're invincible. But the one thing I know about celebrities is they're not flameproof. And if I'm telling you to move, I don't want to hear, don't you know who I am? Because I know you're in a place where you're going to get hurt. And fire doesn't care who you are. It will burn you as much as it'll burn, a normal person. So a lot of the stories had to do with me making celebrities move. Like one time I just gave Garth Brooks a new asshole, chewing him out because he was jumping up and down on one of the flashbots, trying out the stage. Say, hey, you fucking asshole, cut it out. And he goes, well, I'm Garth Brooks. I go, you're on bombs.
So you worked with Garth Brooks?
No, he came in to look at Van Halen's stage because he was thinking about buying it. A lot of times, stars will, I mean, those stages are expensive, so they'll just, change it around a little bit and keep all the substructure. Save a lot of money that way. Like Whitney Houston's stage, I think, was Cher's stage. And Garth Brooks' stage was Van Halen's stage. But they
Did you ever work with Rush?
No. My good friend was their video director, because he used to be Van Halen's lighting director. Not a heavy pyro band, Rush. There was Whitney Houston, and I did her tour.
When was that? In the 90s?
Right before the Fuck tour. It was I'm Your Baby Tonight. And Whitney Houston will always love me. Bad joke.
So late 80s, 88, somewhere 89. I don't know. I can tell you all the years of Van Halen stuff. The Whitney Houston, I couldn't tell you.
It was 92.
92. Okay, cool. Very cool.
There's 5 Dio tours in there too. That took up some time.
Oh. Wow. Let's see. So in the chat, you guys, any questions you have, comments for Pyro John? Drop your comments in the chat. And the book, Don't You Know Who I Think I Am? There's the link right there. We've sold 2 copies so far tonight. This is the best special effects I have. Is this. And it does this.
I have one of those. Yes, they're wonderful.
Well, let me ask you this: how for most of us, we would see the stuff from, well, for me, from the lawn. So I would barely see the band, but I would see your pyrotechnics. Like working on stage or that close, like how loud are those pyrotechnics? How, like the explosions?
They can be any level you want, from trying to hide lack of talent to trying to accent a song. The ones we did for AC/DC were fucking loud. For the cannons, for those about to rock. The ones on Kiss were loud. The ones on Journey's Line of Fire, not so much. It's supposed to sound more like a shotgun, so it was a toned down. Pink Floyd didn't like maroons, as they called them, so it depended on the song. The end of Black Diamond on Kiss, where we did the 8 concussions in a row, we could move cash registers all the way in the box office of the Cow Palace. They told me.
Dag. Let's see. Bay Area Rich is asking best show.
Would be Monsters of Rock at the Los Angeles Coliseum outside, where we had platforms built all the way around the backstage area, along with the stuff on the stage. So it was coming off 11 positions at once during the finale. So that was the biggest and the best. And I've got videotape. When those Van Halen signs go off, they light up the entire Coliseum. I mean, like a flash. Boom. So there'll be kids that on their deathbed will still see Van Halen in there.
They'll still see that logo.
Yes.
Which I have one of them, actually. You can't see it. It's right. Let's turn this way. Right there, the VH. Right there. There it is. The logo. Let's see. Backstage Recordings is saying, are there any memories of doing shows in Detroit? Oh, look at that ring. Nice.
Uh, Mostly, I remember doing Kiss Alive 3 there. My memories of Detroit are seeing sometimes the races on the river and going to a all-black movie theater in downtown when I didn't know any better. I didn't know that people talked to the screen, so it was educational.
Mark's gas station is saying hello.
Hello. I remember Cobo Hall well. I remember Joe Lewis. They told down Joe Lewis. I remember when it was built. Ancient.
Ian is asking, do you know the SCTV Farm Film Report skit?
No.
Blowed up real good. That SCTV was this.
Blowed up real good.
Is that John Candy?
Yeah. He blowed up real good. Like one of the most quoted skits among pyrotechnics. Blowed up, he blowed up real good.
Oh man. Okay.
I also like the pyrotechnician on the Simpsons when Spinal Tap was drawn in.
Yes.
I myself am a cartoon drawn by Mike Judge, who did Beavis and Butthead.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Drew me all fat. I wasn't fat back then. I was a rock god back in the 80s.
That was the one that had Rick James, right?
Yeah.
Shooting out of his guitar, and like it said, the cape caught on fire.
Which never happened. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Those guys have hell of memories. He never had a rocket guitar. He had little love guns that he shot out of his hands, and all of his wardrobe was flame-proofed. I saw to it, so I know what they're smoking, and it was good.
Oh, well, let me ask you this. You talked about wardrobe and being flame-proof. Did you see any equipment get destroyed? Like any guitars get burned up? Or
the only thing I saw was when Hank Schmill was doing the original wall at the sports arena. Way back in, what was it, 80? I went in as his assistant, and they had the trick where the plane came down and crashed into the side of the stage, and a huge fireball went off.
Mm-hmm.
Right before the first show, there was curtains hanging that hadn't been there before. And so Hank wanted to see the flame certificates for the new drapery. They told him not to worry about it. He goes, well, I am going to worry about it. There's a thing called a 3-second match test that a pyro will do, where you take a match or a lighter and you put a flame to a piece of material for 3 seconds. If it burns, you know it's not flame-proof. So he went and he held it there for about 1 second, and the thing started to go up, patted it out. He goes, these things can't be here. They have to move. And it got to be such a contentious fight between him and production. They told him if he didn't like it, he could take off and they'd find somebody else. And Hank was pretty much there just as a license anyway, you know. So he said, fine, get somebody else. I'm not going to sign off on this. So we went upstairs and we're having cocktails and we're watching, and well, here goes the plane. Boom. Well, there goes the curtain. They had to stop the show for about 20 minutes while they put the fire out.
Oh, man.
I don't know if anybody was at Pink Floyd The Wall, but it was an exciting first night.
Let me see. Max is saying, the only time I was a pyromaniac was playing with a spray can of Lysol and shooting flames from it. Yeah, a lot of us did that. You wouldn't recommend doing that, huh?
I did that, but no, I wouldn't recommend it. When I was a kid, I built a flamethrower out of my mother's Electrolux vacuum cleaner. So I wouldn't recommend that either. We used to call it APP, audience pyrotechnic participation. And they'd be out there trying to breathe fire at KISS shows, especially at KISS shows, or throw M80s, which I hated more than anything because it really hurt people. And the reason I have so much videotape is because most of the bands allowed me to videotape the concerts to show that the pyro on stage was safe. And if somebody threw an M80 in the audience, like happened a couple of times on Van Halen, a kid got hit in the head with an M80 and they were suing the band, and we were able to prove that it wasn't us. It was audience pyrotechnic participation, over which we had no control.
Like that's interesting. Yeah, Peggy is saying Hairspray makes a good torch. Yeah.
Yeah. Hairspray makes a good seller.
Let's see. I was going to ask a question, but I forgot. But Bay Area Rich, who bought one of your books, says, "How has technology changed the pyro world?"
Damn, Amazon's fast. He got it already? Cool. There's a lot of video screens now. There's a lot of like light pyro. They try and make it look like pyro and stuff. If you like that kind of thing, they got transvestites now too that look like the real thing, if that's what you're into. But to me, there's nothing like a good concussion. I mean, slap you right in the chest. AC/DC, to their credit, used to made a whole bell and used actual cannons backstage, because the two sounds you cannot reproduce through speakers is a true gong of a bell and a concussion. So they spent a lot of money to make sure that the fans got the actual experience.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, these days, like you were saying, like there's a lot of like LED lights, LED screens, and stuff that looks like stuff, but it's like TV.
It was like, see, you kids won't understand this, but unless you heard Rick James' band live with a full, excellent horn section, you don't realize how much you're missing through what you're hearing through synthesizers. You had to, there's just no comparison.
Yeah, I agree. Max is saying, in the last Iron Maiden shows, they used a lot of video screen on stage.
Part of the reason I got the Pink Floyd tour was because I designed a thing that made their video screen look like it was blowing up at the end. They had the huge oval screen that was like the centerpiece of everything. I said, well, you should blow that up at the end. They go, that thing's expensive. I said, well, don't really blow it up. You make it look like it blew up. So that's now one of the more iconic effects from the past. Everybody saw momentary lapse of payroll. You saw it, boom, at the end.
Let me see. I'm on your Facebook right now. Is it okay if I show some photos?
Sure.
Let's see.
Not the naked ones.
Okay. Those I won't show, but these, like this one. Well, you're just talking about Rick James earlier. There's Rick James right there. Show that. There we go. That is cool, man.
Yep. Now that's what I've got. I'm the regular policeman at the beginning of the Street Songs concert, and I go out and I tell the audience there'll be no pot smoking and no coke snorting in here tonight, and then I get beat up by his background singers, and then Pyro goes off and Rick comes on. Then about 3/4 of the way through the show, I come back as the reborn cop with glitter on. I got silver sparkly boots up to my knee, and I breathe fire off a joint. So.
Wow. Wow, that is so cool. Here, I'll find another one here. There's you and Gene Simmons. Right there.
Me and my Dark Lord.
There you go. Gene Simmons, man. Bay Area Rich is saying, was there a lot of restrictions and permits required?
None in the beginning when it was the Wild Wild West, because the fire departments weren't even aware what was going on. And Hank Schmel used to invite the fire marshals down to every show to show them what was going on and help educate them. And then, like anything else, it kept getting more and more regulated. Where I'm glad I'm out of it, because now there's to my calloused opinion, there's very little creativity. It's like shelf effects. There are things that are approved, and whatever is approved, it's been seen before. So it's a lot of repeat. And the problem I ran into a lot was the people that came and did the inspections didn't know anything about what they were talking about. And a lot of times it was people that weren't good enough to be firemen, but they didn't want them to be on the truck where they could cause problem. So they promoted them to be inspectors to get them off the truck. And so I had to deal with them a lot. Fire marshals that know what they're doing are a godsend. They come in, they look out for the private sector's safety, and they're there for a reason. People that are just trying to have power and have no clue what they're doing are just a waste of humanity. I used to teach fire safety like at Boulder, Colorado. And one time I went and did a week-long seminar in pyro safety at Six Flags, New England. And ironically, that was about 6 miles from where the station nightclub was before the station fire. So they should have come to my class.
Wow. There's another photo right there. So Van Halen. So that's you in the middle.
Yep.
5150.
That's Texas Jam. We got the very first permit to do pyro in Dallas that day. A lot of doing. I had to fly in, I think, 3 times to do demonstrations. But for a long time, you could not do pyro in Dallas because they wanted to be known for only one thing bad, I think. So they didn't want to take any chances.
Here's a question, because I noticed this photo. I mean, this show was outside, right? I mean, it looks like it's outside.
The Cotton Bowl, yeah.
The Cotton Bowl.
It was so hot that day that our tennis shoes were melting on the stage.
Dang.
Yeah. We walk across and there'd be footprints
from the burnt
the rubber tennis shoe burning, melting.
Oh my gosh. So like, let's say like 5150 tour, you know, I grew up on the Live Without a Net home video, which, you know, that was where was that? New Haven, Connecticut. That was indoor.
Yes.
And then you have a show like that that's outdoor. So how does the indoor, outdoor, the differences, how does that affect your job and the pyro for those shows? Say you're supposed to do the same thing. Say it's the same show. One's outdoor, one's indoor. What do you have to take into consideration for those?
Band safety and then making it bigger. On that particular Texas Jam show on 5150, for the very first time, we went and put flash pots up on top of the entire superstructure. So it was like 70 feet up and shooting up into the air with the stuff on stage, complimenting it. And so, you know, you live and you learn. On the very last show of 5150, we made a little Van Halen sign that was, you know, out of one sheet of plywood that had a spinning wheel behind it that we put above the stage. And that was the child of the later on 24-foot by 12-foot signs, because it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Make it bigger.
Yeah.
But on something like on the Victory Tour or on any tour, the concussions were usually taken and put up on top of the way up above the PA, so the audience could hear the boom, but the people on stage didn't take the abuse.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I'm scrolling through some of your photos.
I had a question for you, Johnny.
Yes.
You're a guitar player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to do a bar chord?
What's that?
Can you do a bar chord?
A bar chord on a guitar?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. When I first started working for Edward, I asked him that, just the way I asked you. And he responded just about like you did. I kept going, I see you doing all these single string things. I thought maybe, I play guitar myself. Do you know how to do a bar chord? And he looked just like you looked. I'll be happy to show you. For about a week, he thought I was serious until he kept asking. I go, no, he's weird.
Oh man, I was gonna ask something about 5150. Oh, I know what it is, because you were there. On the 5150 shows, Sammy Hagar would climb all the way to the top of the stage. He'd be like running around, swinging around. Like, was that like really? I mean, like on Live Without a Net, it looks like he's actually swinging above the crowd.
He is.
Like, that's pretty dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. But then again, he proved that we could change singers, so didn't see Edward up there. When I first went to Los Angeles to see the lighting system way before the tour started, it was actually, the lighting thing was almost twice as big, and there was 2 walkways of lights that went all the way down both sides of the arena. And so at the end of the show, when because 2 trusses came down that had the entire ramps that Sammy ran on, they were actual ramps that had handrails and everything. It was designed to be ran around up on top. But at the end of the show, the stages open up and the lights would go out like that, and they join in with these ones that ran down the sides of the auditorium, and Sam could go all the way to the back of the auditorium and sing to the people in the very back on both sides. But before the tour left, they decided that was a little too expensive. And it didn't fit on the truck. And if you ever want to see an LD cry, watch him get his lights turned down.
Let's see. Max has a question for you. Did Pyro John do the Metallica Justice for All tour?
I'm in the program, but no, I didn't. I was hired to do it, and at the last minute, they changed companies.
Oh. Max says there was a huge explosion and the light set fell from the roof.
Was that a rig thing intentional? I don't remember.
He says amazing. So, yeah, it sounds like that was a part of the show. Wow, that's wild.
Most people think it's a part of the show when things go wrong. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I meant to do that.
Yeah. But with the pyro, I mean, yeah, I mean, everything has to be right on every time.
It's not like missing the lighting cue.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. You guys, Pyro John, don't you know who I think I am? Memoirs of a World-Class Smartass. Amazon, you guys get the book? We sold 2 already.
I sincerely hope people like it and get a laugh out of it. That's more than, you know. It's not exactly complimentary to everybody. David Lee Roth takes a pretty good bath, and
okay. Let me see. I know I told you about an hour, and we're at about an hour ish.
Well, I told you I was free till I die. So,
hey, might go viral. Backstage Recordings is saying that's probably way more expensive today. What, his book? No, it's the same price today. Oh, the pyro, you mean, to do all that. Yeah. Let's see. Michael is saying, sorry I was late. Thanks for being on the show, John.
you're welcome.
Yeah. Let me see. I want to ask you, I'll ask you one more question. Okay. So you worked with Kiss. You worked with Rick James.
That's
Van Halen. Huh?
That's 3 questions.
Oh, that's 3. Which, I don't know if I asked you this already. Which was like your best memories, the most fun, the craziest? Or is it in the book?
Rick James would be the craziest.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, cocaine's a hell of a drug, and that was the 80s. And he was Rick James. The most fun ever, hands down, was 5150. I mean, the band was in such a good mood. Edward was in such a good mood. And it was fresh, and it was new, and it was exciting, and it went well, and it was well managed, and it was just a joy to be on. The worst, probably Bobby Brown.
Let's see.
Best
Rob
manager,
Hines.
Leffler, worst manager, Wendy Dio.
Wow. Like the 4th of July shows are less now because of the cost. What? 4th of July shows. Well, let's say that. Last question for you. Let's say you're on a tour and there's a 4th of July show. Is it expected that the pyrotechnics would be even more, like bigger?
Well, if you get a tour like a Dio Sacred Heart or a Kiss, where there's pyro every couple of inches, where are you going to put it? And there's a big difference between an aerial display, which is a typical 4th of July show, and a special effects display, which is in tight with the audience, with the band members, and in time to the show. So it doesn't matter. What we did on Monsters of Rock, which I really liked, was I talked to Ed Leffler, the manager, and we decided instead of doing an aerial display, we would do the in-tight thing. So that's why I had the stuff all the way across the top of the superstructure, above the stage and on the platforms behind, because then the pyro happened during the last song. So it actually, and with the Van Halen logos, it branded, it sat there, and it was that, rather than doing a display afterwards that you could do. It didn't matter who you were doing it for. It was just fireworks.
Yeah, like at Disneyland, every night. Have you seen that? Every night you walk by there and it's just fireworks.
Yeah, that's shut out air cannons. My friend works on that show. On Michael Jackson, on the Victory Tour, the idea of the aerial display after the show was to put Michael in a van and get him out of the stadium before the audience, mucked up the freeways. And Michael used to make him stop the van so he could get out and watch the fireworks. Kind of.
Have you ever ran? This will be my last question for you. Have you ever, like 4th of July, they have the fireworks shows, whatever, all that stuff. Have you ever ran one of those yourself?
Well, I've been on cruise. I used to work on the Golden Gate Bridge every year. That great big binary display that goes on from under the bridge and out on the barge.
Mm-hmm.
But I was only one of many, loaders. I shot. I used to live in Hollister, so I shot their little display that was out of a elementary school backyard. The old way with the. It's a whole different, same family, but different completely than doing a special effect.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man.
Let that be the last question.
Very cool. I think so. Actually, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Could I get a channel ID from you? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's where I talk about how great Steve Wilson's book is. I say hi to my Victoria. Hi, Vicky. Well, you're going to say Johnny Bean is the best fucking podcast in the world.
Yes.
What do you got?
Pyro John.
I can do it better if you tell me what to say.
Cool. Oh, you could just say, "Hey, this is Pyro John. You're watching Johnny Bean TV."
This is Pyro John Watkins, and you're watching Johnny Bean TV. It's a blast watching this show. I guarantee it.
There we go. Cool.
Thank you, Johnny.
Cool. Dude, thank you so much. We sold a couple books and we'll probably sell more. So look for that. I will have the link to your Amazon down below in the description. So, and you'll have to come back.
Anytime.
Come back again.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Dude, thank you. Thank you so much. Pyro John. All right. I'll see you later, man.
I told you not to let old people near technology. I hope you Bye.
There you go. All right. Bye-bye, John. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Channel members, thank you for your continued support for this channel and these shows. And you guys, if you dig this stuff, consider subscribing to the channel. You guys, our next goal is 13,500 here on YouTube. And yeah, drop your comments below. And again, grab the book. There's the link right there. Don't you know who I think I am? John Watkins, you guys. Pyro John. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you so much. All right, you guys. I will see you guys on the next show. Right here on, what channel is this? Corey Feldman.
Hey, it's Corey Feldman. You're watching Johnny Bean TV, I guess.
Thank you so much for watching. Click on another video on the screen here. Drop your comments below. Grab John's book. And I will see you guys on the next show. Right here on Johnny Bean TV. Bye-bye.